Hey guys, I'm here with Game 4 of Fnatic versus Top at Worlds 2020, and I will also be doing Game 5 right after, and we are doing a draft and we're doing a draft and game analysis. A gentleman in chat says take off shirt. No, I promise you everyone only wants to see the hair on my head and face. Okay, so this time the sides are switched up, and the Ori ban is persistent. I think at this point in the series, the Ori ban is making a lot of sense. The Ezreal ban also makes a decent amount of sense, right? I don't think Ezreal looked that amazing in either of the games he was played this series. I don't even think he was fitting what Top wanted to do that hard, but bot lane is really struggling, and both teams have identified that Top's bot lane is struggling during the series. And you know what? Like, regardless of like whether their bot lane is strong or not, I think in play-ins they looked good, right? This is something that's mainly happening at quarterfinals right now. In general, Jackie Love tends to play very well from the playoff games I watched in China throughout this year. But you know, I think like a big part of being a good team in League of Legends is different pieces of your whole will perform at different levels on different days. And if you're a great team, you're going to sometimes need some players to prop up other players, right? Like, hopefully everyone takes turns carrying and being the key pieces to the team, you know? Like, so you have off days, and that's acceptable, you know? But maybe this is just a sign of things to come, and Top's bot lane isn't as strong as we think, and they're going to underperform against the other strong bot lanes you have to fight this tournament, right? That's a possibility as well. But anywho, both teams have identified the Top's bot lane is not performing today, and Fnatic is saying, let's get them off Ezreal so that Karsa can't focus on the top side, and more importantly, unlocking Knight's potential mid lane. Force Karsa to have to devote more time bot side, and open up the possibility of Jackie Love, and I'm gonna try saying his name again, Yuan Jia, give them the opportunity to misplay again. I think like maybe they could also ban Karma, but in general, Ezreal's probably just a stronger hero. Not sure how good I think Karma is, but farm junglers are up again. And this time, Fnatic is saying, we are going for the Graves. But do you actually know how it's pronounced? Can you tell me? Because I seriously have no idea. I guess I've watched so many of these games with sound off. It's like, okay, I'll read in a second. I'll keep going through the draft. So Senna has been a power pick in this series. I don't have a power pick, but both teams are feeling it. And finally, we're seeing the Nidalee. Karsa does not feel like playing Jarvan, thank goodness, into Graves, and he also is not too keen on playing Lee Sin. Cool. We're seeing the Nidalee now. Renekton makes a lot of sense here. Get the really classic combo, not classic, but classic as of this tournament. Senna, Renekton, Nidalee. Renekton, Nidalee, a lot of synergy, a lot of pressure top side, while Senna scales safely in the bottom, plus Senna's abilities prop up Nidalee and Renekton's ability to go in and back them up. His name is pronounced Yuan Jia. Okay, hopefully I remember that. Okay, Ashy Graves, that can go in any direction so far. The comp is very flexible still. Top Esports, since Nidalee doesn't have the greatest target of an AD to support, should probably go draft a really hard forward engage comp at this point. Fnatic maybe identify that and are going to draft something with better peeling. Set is a great proactive pick when you anticipate someone is going to be drafting heavy melee initiate I don't love Set as a blind pick, but it's definitely in anticipation of what Top Esports is currently drafting, and Top can dip out of what they're drafting if they want. We'll see. There's the Renekton. We just said the Renekton makes a lot of sense here. They are hovering it, and they bail. They say not quite. You guys are expecting this a little too much. So Renekton and Tahm Kench basically polar opposites in what they want to do. Although I do think Renekton's flexibility in team comps is much higher than most analysts think it is. I say that as someone that has a great deal of love for the Crocodile. But instead, Tahm Kench. So once again, Top Esports is saying, we don't want to interact with bot lane. We want Karsa somewhere else. But it didn't work last time, right? Bottom lane was super punished by Ashy Braum. I don't want to see Braum again. I don't think he made a lot of sense in the comp he was picked. It just worked. Do I think teams at Worlds have figured out the Renekton Nidalee strat? I don't know what you mean by that. So the strat is basically from China, right? And it's just a really strong top side where both champions are happy to go forward. The most simplistic part of the strategy being Renekton has a point and click stun, which sets up for Nidalee's spear. It's basically just basically a 100-0 combo, and then you can pick something like Senna or another scaler towards the bot lane because there's so much pressure being exerted at the top. But if what you mean by that statement, have people figured out the strategy or not, as in like have people figured out how to counter the strategy? I'm not sure. Nidalee is mainly picked with Renekton, and Nidalee's win rate in general is pretty high. Like the easiest way to think about it is like, okay, it looks like they're drafting this sort of comp, Renekton Nidalee. We're going to draft more disengage. For example, preemptively drafting the set to discourage a more forward comp. Yeah, people have figured it out in that regard. I think it's really hard to beat with Senna. I think that 3-core, you might have seen TSM lose with it, but I think that's a really strong, hard team to beat. Senna's very safe bottom, so they don't need to play to her, while Renekton and Nidalee run amok top. Plus, in team fights, they're getting the Senna support while she scales later into the game. It's a very well-rounded comp. If you're going to counter that style of comp, you're probably going to want to take away a piece, if anything. But yeah, Set, good proactive counter. I don't know if I like him blind, but Top say, you know what, we're not going to play into your hand. We're going to draft basically the polar opposite of Renekton, and we're going to draft a full reactive. We just want bot lane to be safe, and we don't want to get shit on again, so we're banning Braum. I didn't love Braum, but they did get shit on. We all saw it happen. Maybe Reckless and Hillsing are a little too comfortable on that lane. Maybe I am undervaluing how good that combination is versus Senna Tahm Kench. Then there's a Renekton ban just to say, no, don't go Renekton Nidalee and just have a full safe bot side while you ban our supports. We ain't letting it happen. So we sometimes see these comps which are more forward, right? More initiate heavy, and Set is flexed middle, right? They've been working. I don't love them, but realistically they've been working, so I can't shit talk them too much. I love Senna with Camille. It feels really good. So that's another full forward hero that has been banned out. And if Jace is locked in here, that is a full pivot out of top. They said, you guys were a little too prepared for Renekton Nidalee. Your draft was a little too prepared. Graves is already decent into it. Graves already wants stuff running at him while he tanks the damage with his innate armor. But Top looks at this and they're like, really? You're just gonna blind Set because you think we're going Renekton? Nah, we're doing a full turn. We're doing a full heal turn, full reactive. We have our Tahm Kench to peel for us while we throw poke at you with Nidalee and Jace, and our Senna is going to be scaling up. And I guess this Jace is also a bit of a flex pick. depending on the speed at which top want to take this game, they can also draft another physical damage laner. We'll see what they want to do. But when you see a bunch of poke, right, you just go Ornn. That's just easy, right? Oh, we see poke, we're going Ornn. Easy peasy. Let's just draft tanky. So on one hand, it looks like Fnatic was thinking about where they wanted to send Set, right? Set is another tanky hero to be a frontliner for poke, but the initiate would be so sketchy, so inconsistent, that it probably wouldn't matter even if you had frontline for it. So Fnatic say, okay, we need way more engage if top is going to draft this much long range poke, and Senna's just going to be scaling up the process. Once again, I absolutely hate Galio with these style of heroes, right? When Fnatic had Rakan, I liked it way more, you know, but like Set isn't going to be able to get in easily. Trying to initiate with Ornn's E is just miserable. Galio is going to feel very awkward this game, and I question how good it is into Jace. I'm going to kind of assume it gets dumpstered, but I'm not a mid laner, so sometimes stuff surprises me. And now they're looking at Sion again. Sion doesn't perfectly fit the comp. He's more of an initiator, and he doesn't have a true purpose here, because he probably... What top wants right now is just something else that discourages initiation onto his poke heroes. But the nice thing about Jace is he's kind of multifunctional, where he can follow up stuff. So I will say that Sion makes the comp much more multifunctional in what it wants to do, which is pretty good here. I can't fully dissuade them from doing it, but it will be very difficult for Sion to go in without just kind of getting settled. So let's see if they lock it in. They did. No, did they? They did. Yeah. Like there's definitely some options for top. Like I think honestly top, if they wanted, they even could have gone like Mordekaiser here to diversify the damage a little bit. And there's a decent amount for, like, there's a decent amount of targets for Mordekaiser, right? Mordekaiser can kind of just stand there and say, like, you guys probably don't want to walk up too close to my team because I'm going to ult you. Also, like, Mordekaiser would have a lot of options in the side lane. So it actually looked not bad this game. But Sion will make the comp a little bit more multifunctional. He can kind of sit there and be a frontliner for his team, while also giving the ability for himself to initiate, Jace to give the speed, and for Nidalee to follow up, and Tahm Kench can sit there and do literally nothing. I'm not saying it's bad here. It's a good pick here. I just mean, like, if they initiate, he won't have options. I think, like, even if maybe in the grand scheme of things, initiation here doesn't fully fit the comp, at the very top level of gameplay in League of Legends, unless it's like a full counter comp, and I'm not saying you need initiate, but you at the very least want proactive plays. Like, I think you can... This is going to be, like, really hard for me to explain, but I think you can draft comps with no crowd control and no initiate, but they're still very proactive, because, like, you can get a lot of pressure down in the jungle, or, like, you're so hard to initiate on that you can just walk up and do things and the other team doesn't have options. Like, Graves kind of feels like that, right? He hits a lot of spots like that. I think I just talked a lot about Sion right here. Is it a good Ornn counter? I mean, how much do you value beating Ornn in lane? I don't think people are struggling to beat Ornn in lane, right? We know Ornn is going to sit there, nullify your ability to focus top lane, and for the most part, you're not really putting anyone behind. You're just getting gold on yourself. I think it is a lane counter for the most part. Like, you're not a lane counter, but you're outspeeding him in the early game, right? You're also a tank, but you're out-tempoing what Ornn wants to do.
we're still looking for opportunities. We're still trying to push forward.
So, if we want some indication on how this mid lane goes, Knight has literally started with a couple. So that's probably a little bit of a hint.
Good route onto the thing will be a little bit of poke, but for the time being, I think both junglers just going to be fully clearing.
So Set is probably going to have nothing to do here. I'll be very surprised if Reckless and Hillsing bully Jackie Love and, oh god, Yuyanjia? I lied. I don't even know how that happened. Oh, he goes for a flash. Okay, I mean, he blew flash, right?
Root will not connect, so Hillsing committing doesn't manage to get any summoner spells or really any huge advantage.
I mean, that was just a little bit wilder, and Hillsing is the type
it depends how much time Graves wants to commit, but he could pressure a tower dive here after this crab, ideally.
That's the way that he thinks about the game. It's not always correct, or it's sometimes hard to see the logic in it.
I mean, I don't know why I was saying that. I was gonna say I was kind of being like, ooh, they're gonna see him over the ward though, but like honestly, they know where he is. I don't know why I'm saying that. Wow, Reckless and Hillsing are ready to deathmatch today, and I always respect a good deathmatch. If you're not gonna deathmatch League of Legends, you know, like play a different game, right? They just keep fighting. I don't think Hillsing is W up quite yet. I don't love how this is played. This is actually fascinating. Both teams to a degree know where Selfmade. Sorry, both teams are aware of what Selfmade kind of should be doing here, right? Bot lane is shoved up. Selfmade got the bot side crab, and even with zero vision, this is something Top is totally aware of, right? This is just standard pathing out of both junglers, just a full clear into crab, super uninteresting, right? And this is also a position where Graves is like super good, right? Graves eats dives like this for breakfast, you know? But usually, at this stage in the game, because of the, tower damage is going to be high, you want the wave pushed fully in before Graves is able to go. And Karsa, who's just having the series of his life, is like, guys, like, don't back, I'm coming. So Hillsing finds what he wants to. Selfmade tries to go in because he realizes he has to go there because he's worried that Karsa's going to show up. And yeah, it just doesn't work. For this gank to work, the wave probably just has to be in turret. I don't think there's any way around it. And Karsa was on his way, right? Karsa just wasn't ready to let that happen. And now... Oh, I clicked autoplay. I'm trying to change the quality. And now, Karsa got his full back off. Tried to catch Selfmade out. I kind of would have imagined that Karsa would have just continued farming at this point, but he's actually headhunting. But yeah, Karsa's on his back, and Selfmade hasn't backed yet, so it's a slight tempo advantage for Karsa. We'll see what happens bottom lane now, because Karsa's just straight headhunting. You would imagine that he would have started clearing already. So Karsa came to bail out his bot lane because his bot lane didn't seem like they were able to pressure Set off the wave, so Set was threatening to freeze it, and no real denial to Reckless's back. Sorry, I'll look at this in a moment. So Karsa came to help out his laner, which is why it didn't start clearing yet. So Knight continuing to try and get as much pressure on this mid as possible, but Selfmade catches him. So what is Selfmade path? Because he comes back from base, and then he doesn't go towards Gromp for another full clear. He literally just runs through middle. I guess Nemesis calls him over. I assume that ward sees him. And Knight just thinks he's safe, but he's not. I have to assume Selfmade got seen on that ward. It looks like he was in range, and it is a little weird that Nemesis didn't see that ward get placed, but I might be wrong, and they might have had perfect idea of where the ward was, and Selfmade called it, and they were playing outside of vision. I really don't know. Yeah, I without that knowledge, I can't call it a good or bad play or anything on anyone. It's a reasonable play on one side depending on what happened. Okay, that's an early TP at a Nemesis. He needed to come back to lane anyway, so he's not losing anything here by doing this. Great, really good play. Hillsing wanted to TP to lane anyways. If Graves catches it, we're already 6, not a big deal. And I'm pretty sure the kill actually got Nemesis 6. Maybe not, I'm not sure. So Nemesis isn't going to be able to spend that gold, so I don't know how much he's going to be able to stop himself from getting bullied by Knight. But there's an objective being started, so hopefully he doesn't have to lane versus Knight for a little bit.
Yeah, I think they're just going to end up giving this one away. Unfortunately for Karsa, usually he would like to play.
Yeah, looks free. Karsa is in his natural habitat, top lane. Reckless and Hillsing are in their natural habitat, just fighting to the death over and over? No way. They just keep doing it. Just to give my opinion on the matter, I think set support is an absolutely horrendous laner, but I guess they're still winning. They want to get Yuanja.
There's not going to be any reply from top Esports.
How do they keep doing this? They didn't even use an ultimate for that. They just chased.
Yo, Reckless and Hillsing oh, they're feeling it. Ooh, their blood's pumping.
It is now 1,500 gold, nearly 2,000 gold lead in favor of Fnatic. And when you think about this org, when you think about this player,
I don't need to watch it again. Karsa, you know, he's top lane. No surprise. Probably, you know, maybe gonna do Rift Herald soon, you know. I think I saw him do that once or twice this series. Ooh, we haven't seen Hillsing roam too much this series because they've been shitting on bots so hard. Not quite, Nemesis, not quite. We all want to be Chovy, but we can't be Chovy.
That's what he said in interviews. Now with the help of Hilly, they are winning the lane single-handedly. And then the rest of the team come to take that advantage.
Wait a moment, the wrong team's doing Rift Herald. So probably like a little bit of an unexpected call. Fnatic has played with like Hillsing in bot lane literally the entire series. And he roamed up for Herald, so it's probably a little unexpected. Reckless should be fine here. Like it's pretty tough to dive with Tom Kench right there. They kind of... I wonder what they think's happening, because Nemesis is already walking up through bottom. They think there's going to be a party. Hillsing is going. Ooh, he stops. Go, go, go. He's looking for the E. He gets it! They set up for him way too... I don't think Set's this hard to play around. Should walk, like, down. Shouldn't walk up, just walk down. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe he 100% gets hit by arrow. Why is this spot so hard to live? So right now Jaculiv can't walk up because... Oh wait, Setsuna doesn't have ult. Jaculiv can just keep running. He doesn't really stop. Then Hillsing gets a huge burst of movement speed. Wow, we really can't get out of it. He also has flash. Maybe Tom Kench just needs to flash. Saves the W for his laner. We're going back. So it's important that Yuanja doesn't eat Jackie Love yet, right? He needs to wait for the arrow, which he does. Now Karsa is here. Lands a spear onto Reckless, which is perfect. Reckless is giving movement speed to his boy Hillsing. Jackie Love starts ulting. barely gets the shield off before he dies. Very fortunate. Galio starts ulting to try and save Reckless, and it is a magic damage shield, so he saves Reckless from the first Q. And now Karsa's, like, as of this, paused it weird, I went back too far, but as of, like, this spot, it's looking like Karsa has the ability to clean up, right? Galio's kind of expended what he needs to do, and I kind of have to assume Karsa has this in the bag, seeing as how he's level 7. He gets the conk, right, because it's an extended fight, and Knight is here. Like, I don't even think Knight needs to be here, right? Like, I think Karsa cleans that up, even if Knight's not there. And the plan seems to have been the Nemesis goes, and Selfmade takes the farm for himself, because he's much more of a carry. And the plan makes sense in theory, but it doesn't quite work out. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened there. There's just so... it's just another spot that Galio didn't quite hit. If he's not initiating with his ult, he doesn't hit the spot, you know? I'm down to watch again just because I'm finding this interesting. All this is correct. Selfmade is doing top crab, so he can't be there no matter what. It's impossible. And like, the start is so good, right? Like, Hillsing plays it incredibly correctly. And these like margins are like really random, right? Jackie Love barely lives with his ult, and Reckless barely lives the Italy Q with Galio ult, right? So like the deaths come in a little more slowly. But Karsa, like I'm talking about like Karsa being able to clean this up and getting conked, but it doesn't actually matter because Knight comes anyways. But I think it's just another. Oh, there's another fight. But yeah, it's just another spot where like Galio doesn't hit that hard, and Italy is hitting really hard. So this is like a question of how fast can we kill Jackie Love, and the answer is very. I may have spoken too soon. Why don't they kill him? So close, man. This is sad. Karsa does a pounce back, heals Jackie Love. Oh no, this is a disaster. So Reckless, like this is like crazy hindsight, but he needs to switch on the Karsa, right? Like immediately, and then this is really bad. He misses his W. Ah! That's gotta be a kill. wait. Why did Karsa... Oh, I thought Karsa died. Okay, it looked like he was killing himself, but I guess these teams are high level and they were in columns or something, and Tom King eats him. Selfmade's like, fuck this, I'm going in. Fnatic's always ready to walk bottom. Get their kills back. It goes on to Graves, which is super ideal. Graves is going to want kills here more than anyone. It's a pretty low damage comp. A good way to win this game is going to be Graves getting accelerated and taking over before it's too hard for him to kill Ornn. Before people play out of his range and before Ornn can kill him. I think I was already pretty in favor of top esports comp this game. But looking at it again, there's like not actually that much damage coming out of Fnatic. Yeah. Yep. Reckless also looks like he's not going Bork. I think you usually go Bork into Sion. He is mainly HP.
Warping the gameplay, because you already alluded there's a lot of squishes on tops.
It means that whenever Selfmade shows up, he must be targeted out. And Graves, low-range champion. There are some CC options from top esports, but not a lot of great ones. They have to be a little creative in how they can find him out, but Hillsang finds Knight.
Hillsang is doing work.
Low-range champion. There are some CC options from top esports, but not a lot of great ones.
He keeps faking. He keeps faking with Nimbus cloak speed and then using the Q speed. Watch. Nimbus cloak speed to fake, walks back, Q speed. It's actually pretty smart, like pretty well played. Cool, that's a flash. Alright, so we are now playing for Dragon. Whippo is doing his thing in one moment here. Flash E. Oh, but he fails it. Needs to, like, right, he needs to flash, like, here. Yeah.
Flash forward and face plants will not fight.
That's a... Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big mistake. Pretty big choke.
Teleport coming in now from 369. The face plants will not.
Let's see if Galio hits this spot. So once again, Galio's an awkward initiator, but it looks like he almost gets who he needs to. But Tom Kench is definitely the disengaged top needed in this comp.
The rest of Fnatic are surrounded. Collateral
Ooh, the collateral was big. I mean, Graves is just very ahead.
does so much, but there's not enough follow-up. Reckless needs to get past 369. He simply cannot.
369 is very strong right here. It looks like he can go down. Doesn't quite.
369 because Selfmade is helping out. He's got the damage to do so.
Yeah, Selfmade has all the damage.
Yeah, I would be concerned. I mean, I know the outcome of this game, but it definitely, it definitely seems like Top's comp is super favored this game. How's the team where I thought the comp was favored won every game this series? I really hope that's not the case.
Yeah, Bobo can come into this one. Nemesis has his ultimate. Hylissang does as well. There's not
Not
really
as
much
spicy,
anything
you know?
on the side of Top Esports. Knight won't be able to teleport in either, but Bobo's looking for the flank.
They're going to come in behind Top Esports.
Oh.
That's the engage, the slam dunk.
Teleport in either, but Bobo's looking for the flank.
So we had our reservations about Sion in this matchup. He does so. Sion can cancel set ult with his own ult, but Sion's ult is down. So right now, Hylissang is just looking to ult Sion. High HP target gets him, lands onto both Karsa and JackeyLove. The engage is looking super clean. I think there's like a quick decision that Hylissang had to make here. Do you want to try and cast an E before dying? Try and cast a W. He probably can't get in range for a good E before dying. W absolutely feels like the right call here. Gets the huge W off. And yeah. Hylissang is playing really well. It's not great the self-made dies here. Yep. Lands that spear, and then Karsa is just like, I am going to kill you. Tom Kench randomly hitting a lot of spots here. I don't know why. What is going on with Knight? He gets him, I guess. Oh no. I don't know, Knight. I don't know. I think we could have taken that one a little slowly, a little more slowly. Okay. Yeah, Hylissang's killing it. I feel like I should go back and rewatch this fight because I feel like I didn't have like the most focus on the setup, but I'm just not going to do it. But I probably should because I wasn't like paying that much attention. I was probably talking to something random. I like watching the player cams because I like watching Mythy because he never seems to care that much. That's my boy. But like Mythy's not that hyped. He's just sort of like either it happens or it doesn't. He's like, oh shit, that's kind of neat, you know? It's like, bro, that's your team. I mean, we know Mythy came to NA because he said he didn't really think there was a chance in beating like the Asian teams, right? So like when good stuff happens, he's like, oh damn, wait, is it possible? Shit.
Getting into the 15-minute mark, and if you take any of the previous games from this series as a baseline to define expectations, Fnatic have been consistently better. The skirmishes and the team fights were relatively easy.
Hylissang is just feeling himself an ungodly amount. Somebody needs to stop this man. Someone needs to humble him ASAP. What's this? 2 Rift Heroes for Fnatic? That's Karsa's objective, how dare you. Karsa actually randomly ended up with a bunch of kills. We'll see if he can convert them, because I don't think this many kills on Italy is ideal. He will have to play pretty... I mean, he's just playing so amazingly this series, but he'll have to play pretty well to convert nicely here. He did get the accelerated Rod of Ages. That's like a pretty common build when Italy gets ahead. Build the Rod so that you have some sort of scaling in the 10 minutes post building it.
team's respective kills. The previous record was 18, so we smashed that record.
I mean, self-made 7.6.
Knight's Jace looks a little hit or miss, but the laning went well. But like, I think it was a lane he was expected to do well in because we kind of guessed it. And it's a little deceptive because a lot of the mid lane farm went to self-made. Ooh! Splashes right into the Sion ult. Yeah, screw you, 369. Oh, that was a really late arrow. So Set ult for Sion ult, 100% worth it because Set gets the Hex Flash. You always trade ults as Hex Flash heroes, especially Set. Okay, a little role reversal. That's right, 369. We can also send everyone top. It's so funny though because like Nemesis has been effectively jungling this game. Like he's basically playing River. He's basically playing River Galio, and Selfmade is the mid laner playing Funnel Graves. It's a very weird way for the game to be playing out. Right now, it looks like Bwipo is waiting for something. Whatever. Oh, what happens? Oh, they're all on backs, and Hylissing says, "No, bro. One last time, ride or die." Just ults him into the wall, knows he doesn't have flash, ease him into the creeps, gets the W off, micros in front, keeps microing, body block him, not quite. He should have gone for one more body. I don't know. Sorry, I don't know why I'm like I don't know why I'm like nitpicking when he's like playing so well. I don't know why I did that. Uh-oh. Kill him fast, kill him. Got him. Worth. Okay, I mean, it doesn't seem that bad. Hopefully Fnatic just get free Dragon off of this. It seemed like an okay plan, right? I don't think you would expect all of top to move up like that, but they do, and Tom Kench ult is quite the vessel for getting around the map.
This is the style of game that defined game 1 and 2 of the... If this goes to 5, I might need an oxygen tank because another team fight is being set up. You can see that both...
So, I get, like, the options here were warding up in front of Dragon or just, like, pushing forward. Like, through the bot lane. Fnatic just push through the bot lane and say, our bot's not going to be here in time, it's probably not contestable. And honestly, based on the comp that Fnatic drafted, they are probably right. They don't really have the zone control to pressure off of that Dragon without Reckless. I wonder if we're feeling the ramifications of no Bork on Ashe, because... Excuse me. Because this has now been a couple times where Ashe has failed to kill Sion at the correct speed. Game's getting a little sloppy, I will say. Knight is just extending this. I mean, once again, he's not really laning Galio, but he is just extending his general gold gains by going into side lanes.
Do a whole lot proactively. I think they're very good at punishing the oversteps and the overreaches from Fnatic, but I mean, Fnatic are always going to be the ones, you know.
So, like, an important part of playing Hex Flash heroes is just use the Hex Flash all the time. You get Nimbus Cloak right after. You're most likely safe, even if your Hex Flash is a dud. May as well pressure with it. Hylissing is honestly terrifying this game. Even if maybe our last play was a miss. A lot of wards here and no red trinkets up. It's actually super scary that Hylissing was running around without the red trinket, but maybe it's too hard to get on him now that he is dead man's. The ward line extends.
item because he realizes that he's going to be stuck hitting front line, hitting a lot of beat boys for this entire game. He's got to change things
So like
up.
it's nice that they got Selfmade in a good spot, but I mean, yeah, I don't know how much I was feeling. Like I think I keep complaining about Galio over and over as a champion. But I already thought this comp would be a little weird to play, and like now Galio has given all his resources to Graves. Nemesis is going to be feeling terrible. He's going to feel nowhere near as strong as Galios are used to feeling. And although Graves has a lot of items, has an Ornn item, he is not going to be able to get through Sion. I am super worried about anyone here being able to get through Sion. Selfmade has gone like a half lethality build, and Ashy has no Bork, so getting through Sion is going to be tough.
They don't have a lot of hard CC options. I think it does come down to 3-6 a lot of anything, but working around the rest of his team, timing that with the poke spells of an Italy and a Jace, making sure those can connect onto the Graves are going to be absolutely critical.
I'm also pretty sure Tarzan would be disappointed to see no Executioner's culling at this point. I don't know if we've really had Executioner's games this this series, but Nidalee's going to be pretty... Nidalee's very ahead, and her healing will be noticeable at this point in the game. Okay, so they try and get onto Hillsang. This Bwipo ult is looking big. The rest of the follow-up on Fnatic is once again just awful, right? It would have to be like
30 seconds to the Ocean Drake. You can see
Ashy Hero, right? I just need to see where the Ashy Hero goes. Does it just hit? It just hits Tom Kench. Tom Kench doesn't have cleanse again, or QSS. Ooh, okay, so the Ashy Hero and Ornn ult come out at like the same time. I'm not even really sure if that's optimal in this spot because Fnatic is going to have a tough time landing engages in general. Hillsang immediately says, okay, like, I have to, like, go in here, right? Tom Kench is a juicy target. Flashing up to him to get the ult off makes perfect sense. Bwipo also flashes forward because he kind of realizes what needs to happen as well. The ult from Hillsang doesn't go as well as possible, but it does blow Jackie Love's flash and does make a lot of sense. So this is pretty interesting, and I think we see games where the compositions are like this a lot. It's probably a concept that I don't explain enough, but when you're lacking in engage tools and champions that are good at going forward, and you're fighting a team of champions that are good at disengaging, a very common situation is even when you land the initiate, and your initiate blows a flash, it now puts the person that blew the flash in an ideal scenario. Because if we look at it in a black and white sense, it's like, oh, like, Bwipo flashed forward and Hillsang ulted and Jackie Love flashed out, right? Like, they traded cooldowns. But, like, since these heroes are going to run out of initiate tools now and Jackie Love is right where he wants to be, it's actually just a net positive for Jackie Love, right? This is right where he wants to be. No one's going to be able to get onto him from this point on, right? I think Bwipo maybe still is QE, and that's, like, an unreliable way to... an unreliable initiate ability, right? And like realistically, I don't think Jackie Love's gonna get a lot done here because he's Senna and he hasn't fully scaled. But we can imagine that he's an AD carry that spikes a little harder at this point in the game. I'm having trouble just naming a random one off the top of my head. We'll just say Ashy. No, I can think of something better than that. Think not Jhin, not Senna, not Ashy. Who just does like DPS. I don't want to say Caitlyn either. She also needs to scale. Who just has decent early game damage and is like an auto attacker. Why am I having so much trouble? No, we can do this. We're gonna sit here until we do it. I refuse to start the game until I come up with an AD carry. Varus, that's not a meta hero. Varus would just really hit the spot hard if he flashed out here. He would be in the perfect spot and he would be applying the perfect amount of damage for 23 minutes into the game. And yeah, they can't follow up. Senna hits the ult on everyone, and they barely catch out Hylissang here with the Scion Q into some damage from Knight and Jackie Love. Then I don't know why there's a re-engage. This looks super doomed. Also, they're kind of like frontlining for Selfmade, but Selfmade isn't, like, he's not feeling it. Even Reckless isn't feeling it. They're trying to... I'm missing something. They're worried about some sort of spell here, because they're just walking back and forth, not doing anything. I think, yeah, okay, so Selfmade realizes it's unbelievably futile hitting Scion. He's trying to wait for backliners to move up towards him, right? Graves only has 2 autos and an E auto, right? Nemesis fakes like he's going... I see what they're doing. It's actually interesting. There's no way it's ever going to work, but it's very interesting. At the very least, you probably need Graves ult for this to work. But once again, Galio, terrible initiator when he's not ulting on someone. I have multiple issues with the hero and how people draft him. Nemesis fakes like he's going onto Scion, flashes over him, lands a W. Graves tries to Q, does not have ult, has trouble getting in because 369 is playing a really great front line. Karsa flashes in onto Selfmade, doesn't quite get the kill. Oh, did they get Karsa? No, stop. He has Genres, too bad. Yeah, that was interesting and very well communicated what Fnatic wanted to do. This reminds me of playing World of Warcraft arenas, right? And this is like a concept that can be applied to League, very, very high-level League of Legends, but it's like a concept in mid-range World of Warcraft arenas, which sort of plays out similar to League of Legends, where when people aren't using spells, it means that they're planning on swapping targets. So if you realize that people are outputting lackluster DPS or aren't using their abilities like they should, then you can anticipate a swap. Obviously, it's very difficult in League of Legends. It's very chaotic. But yeah, Reckless and Selfmade aren't doing anything because they're really just... They're talking in comms. Nemesis is saying, I'm going backline, you know? They think that they can turn the fight. It's honestly very well communicated. It's just super futile.
So scrappy in that river, and the problem, the Scion and the...
I can't help but feel like we have officially hit game point. I don't know. Orin will be very tanky here. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's like not that over. Or is it? Maybe it's super over. It's I don't know. It's very hard to get through Scion. The scaling options aren't really there. If Graves is going like part lethality, I mean maybe this build's okay. He's going into armor pen now. Maybe it's okay. I mean I get it, right? Like Graves is gonna try to not hit Scion. That's what he wants to do. Hylissang is finding all sorts of fucking angles this game. Off the blast cone, onto Tom Kench, lands it. Wants to get in range for E, not able to. Probably has to cast W immediately. He does. Why is Reckless like dead? Sorry, I'll just let it play out. I'm making this confusing. Tom Kench still has E here, I think. Like Galio probably needs to go now, right? Where is he? Still in base. He's not in range. Yeah, for this to make any sense, Galio needs to go on top of Hylissang. But Hylissang saw the angle and he knew he had no time. The game's starting to feel very futile, and the engage options don't make sense against a mainly poke outranged comp. So Fnatic has to get creative. I honestly think Hylissang has done as much as humanly possible and found some really sweet angles. This game is just not winnable. This is not going to work out. Look, these scenarios look like they might be okay, right? Like, look, he gets the 3 ult, he's going to Q E off of it. like, oh, this is looking good, you know? He baits back with the Q, E's into them, like, but it's not gonna hit. Like, the engage options are exhausted, and top just has more range. I hate this feeling that I'm getting, like the better draft just won every game, because I'd rather just be like even drafts and one team like outplay the other or whatever. I think, you know what, I think game one, both drafts totally could have won. Game one was a very, like, both drafts had very clear avenues to win the game. That was a good game. I like game one for sure. But I can't help but feel like this draft was just a little doomed. Like, maybe Ornn just, like, is really good this game, right? And, like, there's not a lot of ways for Top's team to kill Ornn. But yeah, I don't know. Like, Karsa smurfed it a little too hard. Like, honestly, a lot of gold went on to Karsa in the early game, right? That could have been losable. If Karsa wasn't able to convert his lead, it was very losable, but unfortunately, Karsa has played 4 immaculate games of League of Legends. And I am now super ready for Game 5. I wish I didn't know the outcome, because then I could be surprised. Whoa, okay, what a switch up in the draft. Okay. Fnatic want blue side again. Top has banned Graves and banned Orianna. Okay. Okay. But the main interesting adaptation is Lulu. So we have to... is Lucian banned every game makes sense? Yeah, Lucian is extremely strong in this patch, right? He's already like a very cheesy, tough to beat mid laner. And then Ride was like, oh, we should buff him. So yeah, he's very strong. And in general, the statistics at this Worlds are on his side. He is performing. Not only do people think he's strong, he is actually performing when he gets through. So yeah, Lucian probably just needs to be banned the entire tournament. I also think at this matchup specifically, both mid laners are too scary on him.
What champions could they potentially be banning away if that was one of the options? For this game, I have to have my eyes on Selfmade and Karsa. We've talked a lot of... Okay,
sorry. So I was going to talk about this Lulu pick, and I was going to end with saying Senna. If we're banning Lulu, it's such a... So if we watch the other 4 games in the series, Lulu didn't show up at all. So why are we banning Lulu, right? And we have to think about what scenarios Lulu hits hard in. She hits hard when you blind a weak laning bot lane, and then your opponent just picks hyper skill with Lulu. And I think Lulu's a very underrated hero, where there's a lot of really good situations for her. As I keep talking about, I like Ashy Lulu a lot. And there's also the potential of Lulu being played top. We haven't seen it as much, but the solo queue win rate's very high. I don't know if I vibe with it as much personally, but I do like Lulu's support as a counter to weaker bot lanes. It kind of leads me to believe that there's a scenario here where they don't want Jackie Love playing a hyper scaler with Lulu against the weak blind bot lane that Fnatic is planning this game. Whatever Fnatic want to do with this draft, they want to pick bot lane early and they don't want it to be that strong. I imagine they're going to weak side it, which is weird because for the most part, them strong siding bottom has been going pretty well. But maybe they don't want Nemesis on Galio this game, right? So it'll be a little harder. We'll see. Oh, TF made it through this draft, by the way. Did he make it through last? But TF is a pretty popular pick. Absolutely not going to be Irelia. I remember seeing this. Game 5, backs against the wall. Karsa looks you dead in the eyes. And he says, I'm just going to pick Lee Sin. Fuck you. Whew. Yeah, I don't know how I've been feeling about this Ezreal pick, but Top says, yep, we want to keep playing is him playing Lee Sin that shocking? Yeah, a little bit. Lee Sin. Oh, the Ez pick? Ez pick's not that surprising. Ez pick's not that surprising. Wait. Sorry. What? Okay. Anywho, so I don't know how I've been feeling about Ezreal. Once again, why do I have sound on? Once again, top wants to play weaker towards bot side. And Fnatic has shown their hand a little bit that they don't plan on drafting a very strong bot lane because they banned Lulu. Maybe they're scared of something top that a Lulu top or some combination that I'm unaware of. But anywho, we've seen Fnatic go for this bot lane draft before. We've seen it in the series, and it's a pretty good way to catch Ezreal because he can be a little slippery. And yeah, this is TF. We haven't seen him in a bit. A signature champ for Nemesis. He had some great TF games when no one was playing TF, but I believe still got 3-0'd by FPX, unfortunately, even when they got their so feared TF. LeBlanc is, I don't think he goes it, but it is actually possible this game. Yeah, all three of those picks are hard forward early, not Silas, but they're definitely hard forward heroes, and hard forward is looking not bad here. Diana's looking a little worse. Ooh, locks in Silas game 5. Oh, he had kind of a rocky Silas game already, but he's like, no, we have to go Silas. Okay, it looks better here though. The comp is less mismatched. I hope they continue on comp theme. I've seen Silas before as a Twisted Fate counter pick because it can follow TF around the map by taking his ult. It's not the greatest counter I've ever seen, but it works occasionally. Fnatic has also drafted a very forward comp. Fnatic definitely have options. When you get TF, you have the immediate option of playing like the comp where it's like I have a bunch of ranged heroes and then I have TF making low commitment gold cards while we all stand together and kite, right? Kite/engage, but we don't have to go that forward because we're just following our TF, you know? That's like a real comp. The Recon pick pushes it a little bit more towards the initiate side. So we'll see exactly how they want to round it, but they'll either draft more of like the kite ranged hero play with TF cards or more of the early game TF TP around the map early and initiate follow-up, and we'll see what they do. The Kindred ban, yeah, totally fits with the range style that I just described. This time, we got the billionth Yumi ban, and Camille dissuades. So Camille's like really good with TF because any sort of split like Camille or Jax is always really good with TF because you give them a lot of help with what they want to do. Global presence is a big deal in matchups like that. We haven't seen any Shen past the first ban of it in first game, right? That's kind of interesting. Okay, so yeah, top is just drafting full forward. The ranged kite comp is a very strong one, but it's susceptible to extremely hard initiate. I think my favorite counter to it is Malphite. Malphite even looks like a good pick currently in this draft. Might make the comp a little weird on damage early, but it definitely looks decent. But we will right now see. So top is very locked in how they want to play. They really can't bail at this point. So the best things that top can ban are like disengage, right? So like Kindred, but they were also worried about Fnatic shifting into more Camille-oriented comp with like a lot of initiate, a lot of lot of things to help Camille with in the TF and the Senna. Fnatic's draft is still very flexible, and top banned two very different heroes, but two very pickable heroes. And Fnatic, throwing some respect over 369, he had two very good Sion performances. I think he's earned the ban, and Sion doesn't look like a bad pick here, so I am down. I really am. Sion actually kind of messes up the whole ranged kite comp strategy because his ult isn't stopped by TF's ult, right? It would also force Fnatic to probably pick Ornn again as a frontliner to block the ult, and that was already the matchup that Top was looking for. But Gangplank is much more on brand with the more ranged kite. They are deciding not to go. Very on brand. They know exactly what they're looking for here. They say, okay, we're not pivoting into more initiate or any side lane pressure. We are going to kite around with Gangplank, TF just giving us cards and center range, and Gragas will peel for us as well. Really nice looking comp. Really nice looking. Gragas is such an excellent peel hero for ranged champions, and Selfmade is a super impressive Gragas player. He basically plays carry Gragas, but there is a ton of initiate coming out of Top's side. If Top can draft some sort of initiate at this point that maybe can accelerate the early game before Senna and TF get... Sorry, not Senna. I'm sorry, not TF. Before Senna and Gangplank can get too strong, and maybe something that's a little CC immune. Once again, I'm thinking the Malphite would be good here. That's probably too hard to lane into Gangplank though. Might just be an Ornn, honestly. Ornn looks totally acceptable because he has a ton of people that he can go in with. And it gives a little bit of a scaling option. But we'll see what they do. Okay. Yeah, okay. Shoot. Vlad is pretty solid here, too. Okay. So Vlad is a very interesting hero. I occasionally get this feeling that he's just bad because Vlad is very good. Vlad wants to pool in and lay down all his AoE on the backline. So a bunch of squishy backliners that group together. I've seen this. We've seen this happen before, where Vlad is the counter pick to this style of comp. Vlad wants to just like use his pool to be CC immune and get to the backline and get his AoE damage on all these heroes, right, without sort of being pressured off by tankier frontliners who force him to commit spells before he can get to the backline like he likes. The one thing that why I always feel weird about Vlad is he himself doesn't have the means of getting himself where he needs to be, right? You could say he can TP behind, but that's a very situational case. I think the best ways to get him in are some sort of movement speed. So maybe like a Sivir or Leona rushing Shurelias. Because otherwise it's quite variable if Vlad is able to get in. But he makes sense, and maybe he can play the fight slowly because there's so many people frontlining and setting up for him. But yeah, a super solid pick and a very good matchup into Gangplank. Yeah, and as I said, one nice thing would be something semi CC immune, and I think it's a pretty smart pick that they found here, and extra magic damage will help because Sylas is the sole magic damage source isn't that helpful because he's just kind of single target. But here's the best news. Both these drafts look really good. I think this could totally go either way, and I was just worried that it was going to be a bunch of games where the better drafter won, but I think Game 1 was pretty close, and now Game 5 is looking like really clean drafts on both teams where they both kind of got what they wanted. So let's see how it goes.
Is it Europe or is it
was so insane was theirs and turning around to have the early game impact and hopefully find some fights
Run.
working with you, Yonja, Jerome, and get kills because that is of a Vladimir and Ezreal.
I started talking about Lee Sin's impact in the early game and even asked you direct question. What do you think of
369, little scared of an invade, backed up into the other brush by Red, just scouted, just in case.
2 games in a row, he's had very large impact on the game. Once again, Carcer's going to get a pretty heavy leash. This time around, Reckless and Hessan also helping out Selfmade in both the bottom and the eastern quadrant.
Gragas maybe a little bit more reliant on an early leash than...
Alright, I'm excited. I gotta get hyped up here. This is game 5. I think the drafts are super cool. Absolutely love watching Selfmade play Gragas. Actually, Karsa's a really good Gragas player too. So, actually, they're both really good Lee Sin and Gragas players, which is also cool, right? Because that means that they're both comfortable with both champions and the matchup. I remember before, a reason we stopped seeing Gragas versus Lee Sin was that Lee Sin would invade Gragas at level 1 like every game, and it felt kind of solved, you know, but it didn't happen this game. I don't know what that means, but yeah, I don't know. It felt kind of solved. It felt like the Lee Sin invade always worked. Knight. Whoa. Knight lands the E. Nemesis really doesn't flash. Oh, he doesn't flash. Okay. Nemesis definitely crumbling under the pressure a little bit. As much as I hate to say it, this is kind of on brand for him at this point. He was absolutely supposed to flash Lee Sin's Q and not try and outplay it with movement. And Karsa is Karsa is so on fire this series. Immediately goes for the ward hop. He's so fast on it, right? He's flashing out. I don't think I have the damage. He's so fast on it, right? He already knows what needs to happen.
First blood to Karsa and top Esports.
Karsa gets it going early, right there.
If Karsa finishes all 5 games playing this well, I'll say it. I'm naming my firstborn Karsa. I'm down to say it.
In game 5, this is what I'm saying. Give him the champion he wants to play. Give him that Lee Sin, because he has a huge impact on it.
Such a fantastic gank, landing everything.
Yo, does anyone remember that time like 5 years ago LS just said the Karsa was terrible?
Too many minions as possible.
Because it kind of broke my heart. That someone would go and say such a cruel thing about such a good player. Oh well. I mean, what? He only won the LMS like 20 times, then came to China and just absolutely smurfed it there too. Now he's like in contention to win Worlds. I mean, maybe he's just really lucky, right? Maybe he's really lucky this series. Because it seems like to me, he's like, his mechanics are crazy on point and he's brilliant. That's just what it seems like to me. Yeah, I'm saying too many nice things. I need to shit talk someone. I'll just shit talk Karsa. Yeah, he kind of inted versus Kanavi in the LPL playoffs. Kanavi kind of diffed him. There we go. Now he evened it out. Kanavi was way more on top of the farm jungler meta.
Selfmade can impact this game. Karsa already straight out the gates, that level 3 gank from behind.
I think I'm talking about spring playoffs. Which I'm having a hard time remembering summer playoffs. I'm pretty sure I watched them. Pretty sure.
Make sure you can control the wave at his pace.
And as long as Nemesis is able to sort of hold the wave in front of his tower, not push up too far, he should be not too vulnerable. You know, even without the flash, if he's close to his tower, that's the benefit of being in mid lane. We're not in too much risk, but Carson will walk in and place a
Selfmade, one thing that Selfmade has always impressed me on his Gragas is he always has pretty intelligent paths to avoid getting counter jungled, because that's what you worry about the most when you play Gragas, especially because this is like a rather common, or at least used to be a rather common matchup. Interesting. So we know Lee Sin's going Dragon, so we immediately want to find something else to do. I think the easiest thing to do is just start doing jungle camps, but Selfmade says, nah, I smell blood in the water. Selfmade doesn't screw around. Or looks happy. Okay, realistically, 369 should have flashed that. At this level of play, right, we have to anticipate it's an E flash out of Gragas. And the Predator had already been procced, so you kind of have an idea that he might be coming. But it was an unexpected gank. And yeah, Selfmade's gank sense this series has been incredible. He's really been finding them so on point. Like, we're in a farming meta, and he is finding these ganks and keeping up on CS. Really impressive.
369 goes down, immediately teleports back into lane. He's still got a 5 CS advantage for now, as he's caught most of that wave, but very crucial to note, level 6 for Bwipo, and he's held onto that teleport. And whenever you see any team with a Twisted Fate in the game plan, you can expect a party in the bottom lane at some point, right? So that teleport advantage will be very, very crucial to keep an eye on. Can 369 and Casa...
I hate to say it, but there's so much scaling on Fnatic that I think there's a lot of... I think there's a lot of pressure on Nemesis to perform, because Nemesis and Selfmade are Fnatic's key to getting through this early game, and since the side lanes are mainly there for scaling, it's going to be on Nemesis to open them up with his teleports and playing with Selfmade. So hopefully he's able to step up to the plate. Look at how fast Karsa is. Is just about to get locked. It does. Goes down onto Knight, and here comes Karsa. Kick forward. Towards the tower. Center the plate as well. Nemesis stays alive a few seconds. Ooh, this is really weird. So I mean, it's like a Giga bait, right? Like, all of Fnatic is set up here. Karsa gets the kick, but like, I mean, it's a Giga bait, and both teams think they're gonna win it. I think Yuanja being here at this timing trips Fnatic up a little bit. I think they thought maybe he'd be a couple more seconds off. Now this gets interesting again, because Bwipo drops the ult, which might swing things back into the Fnatic's favor. It's a very strong ability. And Selfmade is playing very strange here. He's looking for certain targets, and he's not Eing in. He thinks it's super doomed. I don't know if he was right.
Not only do top esports get the kill, they get the ultimate as well. Selfmade was only level 5, a level 6 Gragas there, and that is...
Is that doomed? Was that doomed? The Gangplank ult really changes up the dynamic of this fight. Because, like, at this level, like, at this point in the game, Gangplank ult is super broken. I don't know. I can't help but feel like Selfmade just... I mean, I'm being very hindsight here. Being very hindsight. Maybe he gets one kill and dies. Like, that's not very good, you know? I'm gonna watch one more time. Because, like, if he just hits Leona, it's pretty worthless, right? Like, he kind of has an angle on the Knight, right? He doesn't have Flash. Knight does have Flash, so Knight can just get out. Maybe it's just doomed, right? Maybe I'm just looking at targets that have Flash and he doesn't have Flash, and this is just a lost cause. You know what? Yeah, at the highest level of gameplay, this is probably just a lost cause. Yeah, his game sense is good. I think he's right.
Selfmade was only level 5. Karsa, the Q1 to Nemesis. Kill for Knight 1. It looks and with that early pressure, and
that changes the whole course of the game.
So hopefully Vlad can start being stronger in lane here. It's basically impossible to beat Gangplank at like the earlier stages of this game, but maybe now Vlad can start stabilizing the farming. Top has been really great with pink wards this game, but it's not. The pink wards aren't even towards just top side right now. They got them all over. Selfmade just sniffed out one of the bot ones, and he has now found the second bot one. Bot is now cleared up, and both teams are on their preferred sides of the map. Really funny that we've kind of seen this every game this series, because you would assume if Fnatic was going to play more towards topside this game, it would be this game based on the draft, based on how safe they were playing the bot lane picks.
It will be too late to the party though. By the time Henderson can make it to the mid lane, this Rift Herald should be down, although do Fnatic fancy themselves a shot?
Ooh, pretty clean. So Yuanja really hard out rotates here. He had some rough games, but he seems a little bit more on the ball this game. He's here super early, starts casting the Hex Flash near immediately, and goes. And that's got to be a kill. Easy. And by the way, like these teams are so much better on the Senna ult than North America. It's so North America disappoints me. It's fine.
Esports chain locking with the CC, and Nemesis forced to use his flash defensively. That was fantastic.
Just beautiful coordination between. Is getting a little bit out on top of these scraps. Carson as well. It is starting to be put together here for TES.
Can Hillsang do anything about this?
4-second recall.
Enough vision. It's gonna be. Ooh, that was a little close.
A little scary. I actually am pretty sure he lives anyways, but yeah, maybe not. So that was great. No hesitation. Leonis here is super early, just hard out rotation and casts a Hex Flash immediately. Knows something's going down right then and there, and the moment she gets there, she's casting Hex Flash. Super good job. And top were probably near certain that there weren't wards in that area because it was already pre-pinked on both sides. So the odds of there being wards past that pink line were very unlikely.
Infernal Dragon is inside the pit. A number of Fnatic pings around us. So top esports will start this one off. Teleporting cannon barrage available for
Karsa is just crazy high tempo, going all over. We are not stopping. This dragon is ours. We now have two because I picked Lee Sin. And if you pick Lee Sin, hopefully you get the first two dragons, or at least Herald Dragon.
Not only momentum of the last two games, but momentum this game on their side. People wanted a game fight, but nobody really expected it.
Vlad has not really been pressured, despite maybe Fnatic wanting to play more towards topside. They don't actually have a choice. In the Lee Sin Gragas matchup, Lee Sin is going to dictate what the sides are, right? Fnatic needs to scale up. Once again, it's pretty much on Nemesis to look for opportunities, I think. Him and Selfmade are going to have to play together and look for opportunities. And I mean, Nemesis had some pretty good side lane. He scoped out some pretty good side lane timings as Galio, right? Like, it wasn't like 100% bad plays. I think if anything, like, he had some weird Galio mechanics, but had a lot of decent decisions.
1-0-2, Warrior plus Merc Treads, gonna summon the Rift Herald over the wall to help Knight out as well. And if Nemesis sticks around too long to even try to contest, then the threat of the dive is very, very big. We'll get the charge, multiple plates onto Knight.
One more plate? Nope, not quite. That's some good gold onto Knight. Knight's going to be feeling very comfortable. Knight's such a terrifying player. I don't think he's had the most perfect series, but I've watched enough LPL. I've seen what Knight's capable of. Just the fear of knowing what I've seen him do. That's not a dude that you'd want to fight with gold. But this game is going pretty fantastically for top. Selfmade needs to start pulling rabbits out of a hat, I think. Which I've seen him do before. I've totally seen Selfmade pull rabbits out of a hat as Gragas. I mean, hell, he beat G2. Top is just a farm off. Both teams, both top laners are definitely going to have avenues to interact with the opposing team. Neither are just like a dead pick. Farming, both these guys getting farmed up is going to have huge implications, or has the potential. Ooh, what's happening here? So they send Nemesis to the bot lane. Karsa is map hacking, I think, and is already there. And Knight has that all, you know? Like, you expect him to go to another lane, but you don't... But do we expect him to drop on the TF himself? Hillsing sees the bottom, immediately goes. Hillsing's like, I'm the initiate, I know what my job is. Oh wow, Bippa gets a solo kill. I don't know what the dynamic of the Vlad Gangplank matchup is right now, but it used to be Vlad favored, although Vlad used to go Spellbook to take Ignite and bully Gangplank. Ooh! Oh no! I don't like that they take the camera off it. I hate... Yeah, it goes top. Gets the E off. Flashes the Q. Moves forward before... His selfmade does go a little wide with the barrel, though. Ooh. Also doesn't... He's so calm about it, too. Doesn't get hit by the Senna ult as well. You know, Jackie Love may have inted a little this series, but he's a true Chinese player at heart. It doesn't matter how many times we've died. I'm sorry. I don't care about your viewer experience. The pausing's for me. But yeah, Jackie Love is always ready to fight to the death, and I can respect that. He's still mentally strong. That play was so fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean, like, Jackie Love is definitely feeling himself there. But, Selfmade also just kind of goes wide on the ult, which is unfortunate. 3,700 gold down, 2 dragons down, 4 kills down. And this is the replay of the solo kill. I like 15 seconds. True. Wait, does he land the Vlad ult, or does he miss? Oh, he misses Vlad ult. I think he's dead even if Vlad ult lands, because maybe it will go off. No, I guess it wouldn't go off in time. Okay, cool. Now we get to actually watch the full interaction. So Jackie Love E's in because he's a psychopath, which is crazy because while this is happening, his bot lane, like, Karsa and Knight showed bot lane. Why does he E in? Okay, I'm gonna very openly say that this is just a mistake on Jackie Love's part, but that's okay. So Hillsing's very fast on the trigger. He ignites, he's like, let's get this dude. Selfmade dodges the Leona E, which is great. He has the Predator, goes for the flash E, very well played. Autos, Q's on top of it. Jackie Love flashes the Q, and then Selfmade a little wide on the ult.
It's an outplay from Jackie Love, and it's also a misplay from Selfmade. That explosive cast should never miss.
What can Jackie Love do? That is what Jackie Love can...
It's game 5, and Mithy's... It's look, okay, hold on, look, like the other coaches are just like they're losing their mind, like they're like their hearts are in their throat, right? Like they can't take the pressure. They want to win this game so bad. Mithy's just fucking eating. He doesn't give a shit. I love Mithy. Mithy's one of my favorite players, but like he doesn't like. Mithy's just like, yeah, this is a good time to grab a snack. Like everyone else is worried about. Everyone else is like, if I take a bite of anything, I'm gonna puke right here and now, you know. But Mithy's just like, oh fuck it, you know, dinner and theater, like. Like Mithy's just eating like damn, like. You think they're gonna rehire me next year? Shit, that play looked kind of bad. I'm not. By the way, I'm I'm not shit talking. I'm just Miffy just has a funny personality. I'm not shit talking his conviction to the team or his like contributions. I think Miffy is like an incredible player and has a ton of really useful game insight from what we've seen of him. Well, what we've seen of him as a player, super good player, super smart player.
The first time Jackilov gets jumped on, he sidesteps everything. And here comes the engage. That's the quickness into explosive cars. Jackilov gets knocked into the air, taken down.
Yeah, but I'm doing a stream review. What? Yeah, you can come in. I'm just telling you.
Wait, just real quick.
Yeah.
Do you know what you want from? Do you want ramen?
Yeah, I'm down.
Do you know what you want? I can just open the menu 2 seconds.
Just like an original, I think it's fine.
Like pork original.
Yeah.
And then I'll just get seeds of vegetables and whatever.
Yeah, run it.
Okay.
Cool. Ramen. Alright, I have to start this fight over. I was also going against my my natural way of being by not pausing during that fight because I got called out on it, but I really just want to, honestly. The Leona misses, Jacob E's in again because he's just psychotic, right? Which is cool. Hillsing goes because that's what Hillsing do. They get some Gragas damage with the ult off, and they're ready. They're positioned to go on Jackilov immediately. Get him. Follow up. What is Reckless run so far? I guess he just doesn't want the kill. They want Blippo to have it. He's was he scared of didn't know where Knight was, scared of him coming around? He just wants to cut him off? I don't know. Reckless's pathing was a little weird there. Like, did I miss where Vlad was? He's just scared of getting cut off by Vlad? I guess if he stays there, Vlad cuts him off, so he needs to walk around. I guess it makes sense. I see this. Okay, good job. Jackilov kinda... Yeah, he kinda got caught again. But yeah, I don't know. Today's not Jackilov's day. I've seen him play super well many times. I mean, he won Worlds, right? But today's not his day. But you know what? As long as he's playing with confidence, it's honestly more important to play with confidence than have every one of your plays work, right? It's just like if you're in a series and like all your plays aren't working out and you just stop like believing in yourself, then like that's honestly more detrimental to your team, you know? The fact that he's had multiple questionable games and he's still like ready to just like fight people down is probably more likely to cause his team to win than if he just like started playing fully passive. Maybe. Karsa just getting a lot of Rift Herald pressure, a lot of Rift Herald value this game. Always cracking turrets, setting up for objectives, getting plates.
Playing with the objectives go down, it's Karsa punching at side lanes, playing around Knight in particular. 369 is 0-2, just let him farm up, that's going to be fine, but around Knight...
Alright, so do we think Nemesis has gotten the needed pressure off this game? Probably not. It's really good that Whippo independently got himself ahead. That's very helpful towards winning this series. Selfmade's playing well. Actually, he's playing really well. But to win this game, he probably needs to do some of the inhuman things I've seen him do before.
Influential, but with no outer turrets, Fnatic have to push so far to continue. Starts the dragon. Like they don't.
So we talked about how Silas operates in teams before. Very much a side laner. He also has multiple global ults to take this game. Right now he's sitting on a Gangplank ult, so even if Silas isn't at the fight, he's going to be able to throw down an AP ratio Gangplank ult to help the places where he's not. So that's pretty good.
Nemesis. So there's a big disparity. I mean, shopping off to the man immune. So big difference next few fights. If there is one thing that does benefit Fnatic, yeah, they do have.
Garza's jungle is squeaky clean, and now he's looking to help out one of his side laners, pushing up the wards and pressure towards the bot half of the map. Fnatic is a little confused about where everyone is, dropping back to catch this mid wave, being steady about where they walk through, especially because they are aware that they've placed Selfmade on the top side. But Knight's actually just been playing super safe this whole time. I think both teams are aware that Knight has an opportunity to kill Nemesis if he finds him here, so Knight's been playing very carefully around the potential of Selfmade being there. It's a very hard area to navigate. Karsa doesn't quite connect that Q. Selfmade trying to get what he can. Once again, Top is trying to suffocate out these jungle camps, which is pretty in line with my overall theory on how the best way to win League of Legends is.
Over the many objectives like the blue, the Raptor camp, Yuancha finds it.
So the blade will go in, bounce away from the Bosco, but this is what you talked about, Ender. You said you wanted to see Karsa and Knight playing the side lane. You see they shove that side lane in, collapse into the jungle, contest over the buffs. And we're going to do that.
So right now the most value Fnatic is getting out of TF is the fact that they can set up a 1-3-1 and have Gangplank Farm, who overperformed into Vladimir. Which is fine, but it's just gonna take so long for Fnatic to scale at this point. But maybe they'll make it.
It's dragon time here for top esports. Teleport comes.
This is now going to be the third dragon. As I said earlier, usually the best way to win with early game comps is just to secure the dragon soul.
We know they want to. That's I think, say, should they, is the question I'm going to ask you when we look at the state of the lanes. Bottom lane is pushing a little bit. There's a teleport available from Whippo. Here comes top esports. They're in the pit.
Yeah, they're starting this one off. Fnatic have control of the mid wave, and they're now walking down into the river, but they might just be too late, Trevor.
Yeah, it absolutely feels that way. 2,000 HP. Yuyan just waiting.
Well, Fnatic is pretty grouped here.
In the winds, dragon will go down. That's the third. Yuyan just looking for the center's plane. He won't find the top.
Yo, I just wanna focus on what's happening. So the dragon's already hard started by top. Yuanja's looking for Fnatic, but they kind of have a bad read on where Fnatic is. Fnatic actually grouped through the middle and don't walk on a ward until right now. And 369 and Jackie Liver a little late to the party. So right now Fnatic is fully grouped. And top have a lot of initiate options. Fnatic is supposed to be grouped, right? Nemesis and Selfmade need to be looking for peeling for their carries, the Gangplank and the Senna. Whippo is a little far up. I'm kind of worried for his safety at this current point. But Fnatic does have the opportunity to land red cards and pick off people if they're careful. Knight does still have the Gangplank ult. It looks like it's going to hit pretty hard here. Yeah, so Whippo gets caught. He's pretty far up. There is the Silas ult, which is a GP ult, and yeah, it doesn't quite work out. Yeah, Selfmade and Nemesis need to be crowd controlling for their members, and Whippo needs to be comfortable playing behind them. Not that I really think that fight was winnable, but if it were to be, it would be something like that. So this is worrisome, right? Baron comes through. This will probably open up the map enough. If top plays really slowly, they're probably going to get the opportunity to get the soul. Fnatic will probably have to look for an immediate pick here as top set up with their Baron. That's probably the best call, but they're very shoved in, very low ward coverage. It is not looking good, friends. Top never stops. They just keep running into your jungle, and it's not that easy to stop them from doing it.
With Baron buff, they've already
This time Knight is pushed very far up. Vlad is not farming top, he's just rotating over. I think through the series, we've seen for the most part top ops for grouping with their Baron buffs as opposed to shoving all the lanes or going overly hard on synchronizing them. I also think there's a little bit of debate about what the best way to play Baron waves are.
TES get one more objective.
They do. That's the 4th tower secured.
So there's enough rotated on mid that they're able to take that turret, and now they can move towards bottom if they want. They're kind of pressuring the in the jungle. Jackie Love ease forward for like the 20th time and gets ulted. Let's see how it goes. Into Senacharm, into Rakan ult. 369 gets kind of an angle at the back here. 369 having not the best game so far. Looked like he almost had an angle there. I think Nemesis actually exhausts him, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I remember looking before the fight that Nemesis took exhaust with his spellbook, which is exactly how Nemesis needs to be played, right? Nemesis needs to be making space for Gangplank and Senna. And that's also what Greg seems to be doing. So they pushed it up mid instead of top playing the same as they've been playing the series, very much neglecting top lane. Very much not playing to all 3 lanes and instead neglecting top lane, and they push through mid and then they push through bottom. So Jackie Love ease in because that's all he knows. Yeah, they're just a little behind on gold. I mean, this looks like game, like a very fast game. Yeah, it's done. That's done. Oh, that was fast. They didn't even have to get the soul. Realistically, I don't blame Fnatic for speedrunning that loss, because I also probably would try and initiate on Jackie Love if he kept jumping in like that. He was hit a lot of tank stats though, but that's life. All right, that was all 5 games of Top versus Fnatic at Worlds 2020. This is a 2-part video. If you're watching this part, there's also the first part, which has games 1 to 3. But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this series. I think the most even drafts were in games 1 and 5. So when Fnatic won game 1 and when Top won game 5, I don't think draft played too much of a role in the sense that it felt like both teams had the opportunity to win those games. So it came down to one team having to play better than the other, which is great. I think a lot of people... I think in League of Legends, you can always look at things historically, and maybe this expands beyond League of Legends, and is really just esports, and even regular sports in general. History matters a lot, where when players tend to step up to the plate and perform, and maybe some players don't, it's pretty consistent, right? Like, team culture is a thing. Just like if we look at, there's just some things that are constants, right? And I think you see a lot of stuff that's actually was to be expected so far in these Worlds games, right? Where a lot of players play sort of as we expected them to, and yeah, it's always interesting to see. But yeah, that was a pretty fun series. I'm Cruza. You can find me on Twitch if you want to watch these lives at Cruza TV. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you're watching on my Twitch stream right now, my YouTube is also Cruza TV. And if you're interested in following me on Twitter, you guessed it, Cruza TV. Thank you for watching.